Protests are continuing over the planned release of Chris Hani's killer. The Tripartite Alliance is demonstrating against the imminent release on parole of Janusz Wałęsa. The SACP, COSATU and ANC marching to the Kgosi Mampuru prison in Pretoria, where Wałęsa is behind bars. He's due to be released tomorrow as ordered by a recent Constitutional Court ruling. Wałęsa was stabbed by a fellow inmate yesterday. ENCA reporter Pule Lituti-Jones joining us now live for the latest on this developing story. Good afternoon, Pule. I see you are outside the Correctional Services facility there in Pretoria. What is happening?
Yes, we are outside the Kgosi Mampuru Correctional Facilities here in Pretoria, just like you've rightfully said. The Tripartite Alliance march was taking place here outside. It just ended as we were also, monitoring what was going on and witnessing how some of the members, including the SACP leader Solima Paila and of course ANC chairperson, were expressing their grief towards what is known as to be the D-Day tomorrow, where we may be seeing the release of Janusz Wałęsa, of course, who is the main man who was arrested for assassinating the SACP leader Chris Hani back in 1993. But joining me right now, we have Mr. Singabako, who is the Correctional Services spokesperson. Thank you very much for joining us on ENCA this afternoon. So maybe first let's just start with what's top and what's been discussed, of course, here. Tomorrow, of course, is the final day where we may potentially be seeing the release of Mr. Janusz Wałęsa. It's the 10th day. What do we understand? Will the Minister of Correctional Services, Mr. Ronald Lamola, make an announcement? Where do we stand right now?
The appropriate authority, being the Minister of Justice and Correctional Services, will make his decision known to the country. So let us give him that opportunity at the right time. He will communicate.
And when will this be made?
The Minister will decide when to make that particular decision and communicate it.
So usually what is the process that has to be followed? It's the 10th day tomorrow. Does this mean he has to be released?
With LIFOS, it is the Minister who makes a decision. He will then communicate that decision to the department. Hence, we are saying at the right time, the appropriate authority, being the Minister, will make his intentions known.
Okay, so let's talk about the stabbing that happened yesterday. Yeah. Mr. Janusz Wałęsa was stabbed. There's a leaked audio, of course, which says that this is a member of a former MK member as well who's behind the stabbing. You've said that is not true, but the profile of this person, what do we know about him?
You will appreciate that we'll not disclose much because the person has to be charged criminally and appear in court. But what we can say is that from our records, we do not have this person as a former member of the MK. We have an inmate serving a life sentence for a case of murder and attempted murder. And what I can say is that this is someone who at some point spent time as a trainee soldier, and there was an incident there where someone was shot and then another case of attempted murder. Hence then this person was sentenced to life, finding himself in our care here at Kgosi Mampuru. So we don't have anything indicating that we could be dealing with a former MK member, because if he was, our records would have said so, because we do profile people that we admit so that we know exactly the type of a person that we're dealing with and the type of programs that will then assist in the rehabilitation process.
What is the relationship between this person and Mr. Wałęsa?
The incident took us by surprise because the housing unit where Wałęsa is kept, it's a unit of single cells, and they've known each other with this alleged perpetrator. They've spent quite a number of years there, and they've interacted. Hence, then we're all surprised that suddenly then we will have an incident of such a nature, because it took place in the afternoon at about 4:30 when they were queuing for dinner. Because how it works is that they're kept in single cells, but when it's dinner time, be it breakfast or lunch, they will then be released to go dish and go back and enjoy their meals in their cells. So when they were queuing for meals, that's when the incident took place.
Do we know where the stabbing took place? Was it upper body, lower body, and how severe was it?
We've confirmed that the stabbing is in the upper body. Hence, it is important that medical care is afforded and that this person is monitored until such time that we get a green light where it could be taken back into his cell. You will also appreciate that we are dealing with someone who's not young. He's 69 years of age, so it's important that he be given appropriate medical care.
And also, do we know when will this inmate be charged and possibly appearing before a court, or what may happen from there?
What's important is that inmate Janus Walus has to open a criminal case, and then that will then assist in terms of the process criminally now to be followed. But as the department, we've also launched an investigation so that we get to understand fully what may have been the motive behind the whole thing. And if we're talking about people who've known each other, therefore we need to establish, if it was just something which may have been triggered by something, or it's someone who saw an opportunity. There are so many things happening in the country right now, so it's important that we zoom deeper into that particular area so that we'll know what type of an issue or a matter that we're dealing with.
There are, of course, reports saying that Mr. Walus seeks to be deported to his country following this incident. Can you take us into, confidence as to what is the procedure thereof?
The minister will announce his decision, and that decision, it will spell out exactly what is to happen. So I would prefer that we do not speculate, we wait for that decision.
Thank you very much for joining us. That's the spokesperson of the Department of Correctional Services, Deborah Dand, particularly saying that they are awaiting the minister to make a decision as to when that announcement will be made pertaining to Mr. Wallace's parole release, but further providing details as to what happened with the stabbing incident that took place between Mr. Wallace and one of his housing inmates here at the Correctional Services, and the relationship he had with this alleged perpetrator who's currently being housed here. But of course, they are waiting Mr. Wallace to take a decision as to whether he wants to, of course, take and forward any charges against the inmate who is accused of stabbing him.